guys. Thank you for your warm welcome, and thank you to ACS for having me as a speaker tonight. I appreciate having the chance to tell you about my journey and just how I got to this point. I first entered the foster care system at the age of 8, going on 9. And I'll always remember my first placement all those long 13 years ago, right here at Awesome Children's Shelter. At the time, I didn't really have a grasp of exactly what was going on. I was both scared and angry, all at the same time. Not long after I arrived at ACS, I ran away, trying to reunite with my mom. The police took me back, but I always remember ACS being a very kind and warm place that understood the pain I was in when I was first taken away. I was 8 at the time, and I just didn't know that my home life wasn't normal or just wasn't okay. Now let's fast forward several years, a couple schools, a failed reunification, and also a couple foster placements. I found myself at a crossroads. The placement I was in was closing its doors, and due to my troublesome behavior, finding an immediate foster home straight out of the placement was just out of the question. So, the second option, Awesome Children's Shelter. It was in the car, actually, on the way to ACS, that my caseworker, Ashley, was actually sitting over there, told me that, in a sense of words, told me that I needed to straighten up my attitude and my behavior to become a favorable youth for future foster parents. So, here I was, back at ACS, in a new but familiar environment, at a whole new school, going into my freshman year of high school. It was a weird time for me. I actually remember my first day of high school. I went to school, and right after lunch, I just walked out the door, walked back to the shelter, just left. And I actually remember when I got back to the shelter, the staff were a little surprised to see me, but they were very understanding of what I was going through and the changes that were happening in my life. But they were also very firm that I probably shouldn't do that again. But since my history was a bit distinctive, I was at the shelter for a little longer than your usual 90 days. During that time, I was able to build some great relationships with the staff that have carried on long after. One of my fondest memories of the shelter was when we moved to the new facility where the shelter actually is located now. And the staff let every kid that moved put their handprints in the wet concrete. It was an exciting moment for me, and I still come back to visit it. I think there's gonna be a picture. Yeah, there you go, right there. But eventually, a potential foster placement was found for me. But by that time, I didn't want to leave the shelter. I was settling into school at Austin High. I was making friends. I liked it at ACS. I was comfortable there. The staff loved me. I mean, they really loved me. Things were good. I just didn't want to go. And I also knew that they were starting a new program at the time, which is actually a functional program now, the Traditional Living Program, which is for older kids who just kind of want to get off the foster family merry-go-round and just wanted to finish school and move on. But the program wasn't ready, and everyone around me believed the placement in Kyle was the best option. Nevertheless, I did everything in my power to sabotage this placement. Because I'd become so comfortable at the shelter and really felt afraid to change. I remember a staff member, Angelica, who was also sitting with me at the table, stressed to me the importance of moving and not being afraid to take chances. She really assured me that everything was going to be okay. I trusted her, so there I was, on my way to Kyle, to a new foster home placement. I remember the staff actually taking me down to Kyle, and since Kyle was in the medieval times around that time, they had a two-way access road. And the staff member actually was driving on the wrong side of the road for a good while before we realized this wasn't the right side.
It wasn't you.
His name was Zach.
Just in case you're wondering.
But my first impression of Daniel was, wow, he's really tall. For me to be 6'3" and for someone to be taller than me, it's like rare. You never really find that at all. But little did I know at the time what a big impact that he would have on me. Turns out, living with Daniel was really the best thing for me. I wasn't an easy teenager. Between me constantly testing his boundaries, challenging his authority every single chance that I got, and emailing my caseworker these crazy emails trying to get his house shut down just because he wouldn't give me the Wi-Fi password. I was more than certain that Daniel was going to kick me out. It took a while, but I came to realize that Daniel was here to stay. And from that point, I was really able to flourish. Throughout those 4 years at Daniel's home, I was able to attend 3.5 years at the same high school, excel in extracurriculars, and create long-lasting friendships that I still cherish today. And there's a couple of my friends at the table too, so yeah.
Thank you.
I've never experienced this kind of care from a strong male figure in my life.
Thank you.
This is all very new to me, but it was this critical relationship that really made me the man that I am today. After graduating from high school, I've gone out on my own. I've completed 2 years of college. I've helped make meaningful change on a legislative level and participated in panels that affect those in shelter and in foster care. But tonight is about reaching the stars. My star? Well, I'll have to report back to you in a couple years. I'm transferring to Texas State in January, and I'm having trouble deciding between continuing my path in political science and going to law school, or I've really become interested in marketing. So we'll see how that ends up. But what I do know is that I can do anything that I set my mind to. Thanks to some amazing organizations and an amazing group of people who have believed in me and supported me since I was that scared little boy. It does take a village, and I would never have gotten this far without my village. I don't know if I say this enough, but I am eternally grateful to have been afforded the opportunity to know such amazing people who have been there through me through thick and thin. So, Helika, Carolyn, Elena, Ashley, Adrian, Eric, and my incredible foster dad, Daniel, please stand so we can all give you a round of applause. Are amazing people, and I want to thank you again for being in my life. I want to close by expressing my gratitude to be in this room with all you lovely faces, and I'm happy that ACS chose me as a speaker. Not only has Awesome Children's Shelter been there for me through some major moments in my life, but their mission is one that I'd love to continue to be a part of. Since I left several years ago, I have continued watching in amazement as the organization has grown to provide even broader and more effective services for youth just like myself. My sister actually just benefited in a major way from their Mom and Babies program. And honestly, I don't know where she would be without that program because we were struggling to find placements. But it was an important time in her life. And I'm sure that she would attest to the fact that ACS is an amazing organization. So please, remember when you give your gifts tonight, not only are you contributing to an important organization that does amazing work, but you might just be helping another young foster youth at a crossroads, just trying to pick up the pieces. All of us have dreams. We just need a chance to reach them. Thank you. Guys, so much. I appreciate you listening to me. Now, I don't know what we're doing next, but thank you guys.